Hi, sorry, I forgot my earphones in the room.
That's all right. How's the Blue Jays?
Wonderful.
So now the Blue Jays are
The only baseball team we have in Canada, and they just clinched a wild card spot. So I thought I would support that a little bit today.
why not? So anyone out there in Canada or anyone around the world is supporting the Blue Jays. So we're all happy about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1111 Spiritual Transit Podcast with the Maple Leaf Beauty over here. I can't help myself. I give everything up. I give everything up. Oh no, I give everything up. But this is Jackie Lyons from Canada, who's the Akashic Energy Healer, specialising in the Akashic Records, which if you want to find out a little bit more about it, you can jump on our channel and her channel, Akashic Energy Healing. Find out what it's all about. Just found out the other day it was being used in the season 2, episode 7 of Charmed, which is, we'll go into that a bit later. And I'm Jay from down under Australia with all the kangaroos and the koalas who live in my backyard. So, and myself, I'm a holistic healer, specialising in the shadow self, 27 years experience, and I'm looking forward to having a chat with you today with my partner in crime over here. How's life going, Jack?
It's good. It's been a fun weekend. A lot of energy integration, so I've been taking it easy and just allowing that full moon energy to, release.
Talk about the full moon. Talk about the full moon with you. Let's go full moon. I put a video up the other day about the full moon, and just it's it's what people want to know about, because they're starting to become more and more aware of things, aren't they?
Well, it's like, I think they said it was one of the last supermoons of the year, plus it was on a blue moon month, which won't happen again for, 30 years or something, they said anyway. So it was, people were feeling it a little more than they would normally, especially if you're sensitive to energy shifts.
Yes, like we are. Yes, we are. We've been talking about that all week, haven't we? Like,
you start to, if you actually pay attention, you do start to notice the shifts within your body, and it's very normal. If it can affect the ocean, it can affect the water within your body. So it's very something that needs to be integrated. Well, it's something that needs to be integrated, and if you're feeling it, take the time to rest. Like, no time to, stress about it. Just relax, enjoy it, and it'll pass.
So people will go and talk about their energy levels and all those kind of things, and how they are integrating those energies that are happening and understanding. They're starting to understand themselves a lot more. I know I am. And I think the big thing is, I want to do a big shout out, as I usually do, as how I shout everyone out. Karen Mandel, who does the self-sabotage coaching in the US, something comes up. I had a few questions about people coming up and asking about getting what they want and then self-sabotaging themselves. Have you done that before?
All the time. I used to be the self-sabotager. And it's because, for me, if you're asking, it was really because things always seemed to fail. So it was easier for me to create the failure or just not try than to wait for that outcome that I thought would inevitably happen, which would be the failure. And it really was a pattern of behavior for me.
So self-sabotage, meaning, ladies and gentlemen, is when you get something, and this is where maybe the shadow comes in, where I'll jump in. You might have had a trauma when you were younger, and that trauma-based response is in your head, and then obviously it's coming out to protect you from being hurt again. It's as simple as that. If you want to just explain.
No, that's perfect. That's really clear.
Yeah. So we come across. So for example, I've got a lot of stuff happening at the moment, which is great, and I'm feeling the change. I feel like I'm coming out of my body, feel like the energy's going, and I sit there sometimes, and you're fighting it. It's a battle. You're fighting yourself. You really are, and it's good to have people like this lovely lady over here, and I've got a couple of other friends that are going. You just got to sit there, and you've just got to walk. You don't stop. You've just got to walk, and being in that safe space and understanding, having that strength within your mind to understand this is a pattern. Once you recognize it's a pattern, you're halfway there. That's how I've started to work it out this year. There's a lot of stuff that's happened that I realize it's a pattern because of the subconscious, whether it's a past program, Okay, programming in the matrix, whatever you want to go, we can go down that path. Okay, or you're fighting yourself that way, where you've come into this world, you've been programmed one way, and your true self is coming out, and you've got this crossroad. Not even, you've not sort of at a crossroad where will I walk, will I not? You just got to go with it and see what happens, eh? And usually, and all the time, they always say everything works out for the best, so it does.
Yeah, and when you learn to understand your tendencies, you can then learn to make choices that mitigate the damage you cause yourself with those self-destructive or self-sabotaging behaviors. So it helps you a lot of ways just because you could learn to make better choices when you understand yourself at that level.
Absolutely. So you get what, like, I'll give you an example, ladies and gentlemen. When you go and you live in a dream, a lot of people they make a joke about living in a dream. You have the feeling of when the dream actually comes forth in the future, but you're living in that feeling, not actually in the actual real world. When the dream comes, you don't know how to act. Believe me, I've done that, and it's happening to me now, which is it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's just something you got to recognize that this could be a block or a self-sabotage mechanism, all those kind of things that happen. So you just got to keep moving. And the other thing is, I'll give you a hot tip that you don't actually understand or feel what you're doing, because you've never actually stepped forward onto a success path, even on that way. You haven't felt those few steps going forward towards your goal. You always sat back and go, oh, I'll get to a point, that'd be fine. Yeah, feels good. Now I've actually got to do it. What do you reckon, Jack?
Yeah, and another way to think of it is that trauma and that trigger was built or was created to protect you. And it is protecting you because it's reminding you of a time that something bad happened, and acknowledge it was there. And sometimes just thanking the attachment for trying to look out for you, but you don't need it anymore. So you can now actually release it in a healthy way and stop being so triggered by situations, because situations are meant, if triggers are coming up, it's showing you there's still unhealed wounds.
Absolutely.
So if you're still being triggered by other people or triggered by situations, it's telling you that you have something to fix within you. It's not the situation that's bad. It's the attachment that you place to what happened that's bad. And that's what you're working through. It's a very it's a very journey of the self, and it goes through the depths of all your shadows, and it's really intertwined with everything.
Absolutely. When we look at it, when you look deeply into what you're doing and looking at your deep-seated fears or your deep-seated traumas. Now, as I said, here's a disclaimer: we're not medical practitioners, but what we have the ability to have the.
I like how you said it before, the PhD of life or whatever. Was that how you said it?
I always say the PhD of life and the bat belt of gifts. That's just what I've been told. That's what I've been given.
I like it. I mean, that's right. It's like,
we have a PhD in life.
I take advice more from somebody who went through the problem and came out the other side than some professional that has never actually had the problem. Thank you for your opinion. I'll take it into advice. If it resonates with me, I will use that in the future. But if you've been through it, I want to talk to you. Let's get down into the meat and potatoes. Let's be vulnerable. Let's open up about the real struggle, and we'll connect on that level, and we'll heal each other. It's an amazing process. It's not someone talking at you. It's someone sharing an experience with you, and it changes it for you.
Absolutely. So you go with a point where you, as I said, the PhD in life, you've gone through the journey. Now, the experts that come in assist the walking. So you go to like a walking frame, you're assisting yourself walking. You walk like baby steps into elementary school or primary school, whatever you want to call it, secondary school, university, PhD in life, if you go that way, right? So you're walking through this thing, and then if you do need someone, we always encourage you need someone, that's fine. But we're not the alternative in some ways, but we are an alternative way of looking at it. That's how people have asked me, where do you stand in this stuff? I said, well, I help people because I've been there. I've actually physically been there. Jackie's physically been there. So we know the emotion. We know how we feel. We're talking about the restless nights. We're talking about the dreams. We're talking about the the panic attacks. We're talking about the self-doubt. We're talking about all that other stuff that is holding you back. Now, if you've got someone to say, for example, and they'll ask me, how did you get out? Right? So you do that. And then what you could do is then, if you feel, as I said, you go to people who have experience on it or have someone that has helped them. So you've got to look at the result of where people are. And look at what we're doing.
Yeah. You need a support system. I mean, people need people who are going to be in their corner and cheer them on no matter what. When I'm having a down day, you text me, you remind me, vice versa. You need that person in your corner, at least one person that's going to support the ever-lifting shit out of you without, wanting something in return. And if you can have that, hold on to that and use that energy, because it really is a driving force that keeps your mind focused on what you're creating and positivity, because there are always days where you're down and you need that. You just find that person. Even if you can't. Like, I found Jay, he's from Australia. We never met before. We found each other. Like, there is other ways to stay connected and still get that support without ever actually having to see the person. So get out, get involved, get on our groups. This is a great time. We have a group on Facebook, Akashic Energy Healing. Join the group. Get involved in the conversation. It's not, I don't know. Anyways, it's important.
No, you did right.
I'm in a mood or something today.
So. Keep going. No, you're on a fire. You're on fire.
No,
exactly.
That's it. But that's what's important. Like, when I hear people, and the biggest thing is when they're in doubt and they're in these shitty situations, and then I'm like, well, look at your fucking friends. They're all assholes. They're using you. They don't talk good about you. Anytime something good happens for you, they're jealous instead of supportive. They try to tear you down. I'm like, that's not who you surround yourself with if you're trying to build a positive mindset. Those are the people you set certain boundaries with, and whatever. Or
no, look, 100% right. Have a look at the 5 people that I get it's Chris in the UK. Beyond, I'm sorry, I'm just reading this one. Can only come as far as yes. You can only come so far with you, and then you might have to let them go. Chris, love you, mate.
Yeah. Chris from the UK.
Chris from the UK.
You know who they are.
Chris from the UK. He's a hypnotherapist and does past life regressions. Sorry if I've got that wrong, mate. But mate, if you go on if you go on my TikTok, he talks about actually going back into your past lives, looking into why and what's happening with the with yourself and how you've brought that into your life. Then you look at what Jackie's been doing with the Akashic Records. She looks at the big library, the thoughts that are going through.
It is. What karma's coming back with you to this life that we need to heal, and that's great job. I want to see Chris. We need to chat.
Yes, Chris.
At some point, I would love to hear a lot more about your work.
So, Chris, if you're on there, mate, we're all. Jackie will get in contact with you as soon as I'll put you through there. So that's awesome. Let's do that. He's saying the chat was awesome. But when we look at it, and then it's moved into when as I said, I started my journey really only 5 years ago with Greg Riley and Michael McNair from 5 Dimensions, who put me into a safe space where I could actually be. It's not that, okay, here it is. This is the physical plane, right? This is what we do here, and this is where we're programmed, right? Didn't fit, all right? I had to go somewhere where I felt safe, where I could be me and actually say, right, this is me, this is the way it is. We've never actually had that. We've always had that, we'll call it the black sheep of the family, or we've always had that, we've always felt, okay, we'll call it weird or something like that. We've always haven't connected
like you couldn't be
on
yourself.
a level. Yeah, we haven't connected on a level. Okay, we can talk like we've, 6 months. So there's some people there I haven't been talked to for so long. But you start to understand stuff like frequency, vibration, all these really cool things that are coming in, and you work out which one affects you and which one comes in. But my main point was, you feel safe in the area that you're doing you're doing your therapy in, or however you want to put it, or you're having a chat. And then you have a look at the people that are confidently, or not confident, what's the word, confident, that you're with, that are engaging your life and making your life better. Mm-hmm. And remember, you've got those old patterns of what's going on. Okay, and I think if you become more your authentic self, okay, and there's nothing wrong with, and I think I'm going all over the shop because my mind's going quicker than what I can get out of my mouth. If you have awareness, we both have that problem. We've had this discussion. We've had this discussion
many times.
many times. It's being safe in the area and having the awareness of where you're at, and that's where that's where you're going. There's a young lady I did.
Because you have to be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And you have to be able to be vulnerable. If you can't do that, you'll never get the breakthroughs you need. And the safe space is the place to do that. And you can create it. I know there's a lot of people in situations that feel like they can't get out of it or can't escape the people who are toxic in their life. There are ways to escape, without completely upheaving your entire situation. So find ways to program yourself to see the positive, to find the positive in whatever it is you're searching for, so you don't have to suffer with that by yourself.
That's it. So you look at it. So we go. Look, as I said, in this chat, we just talk about pretty much our journey. So it'll be a bit more structured later. But what we talk about is where we're at because we're so excited about coming out of where we were in that cell, or however you want to put it. You got this big cell in there that you put yourself in, and you come out for 5 minutes of freedom, and you go back in the cell. And it's a horrible feeling. It really is. And once you understand it, and then once you get that sunlight and you haven't had it for so long, what's the problem? Of course there's a problem because you haven't felt it before. It's a weird feeling for you. So you've got to understand that you look at yourself as a person, understand where you're going, and have that safe space to actually go, hang on a minute, someone's wrong, someone's not right here, and you move on from there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I really think that it's important that you always bring it back to yourself. It's always a journey of self-healing, and nobody knows how to do that better than you. If you just learn to understand yourself, you will know. You'll know what works for you. You'll know what's right for you. You'll understand what food bothers you. If you just listen.
That's exactly it. So you look at what food bothers you, you look at what people bother you, you look at what happened. You'll be drawn to a way. As I said, we're going through this pretty quickly. And if you do resonate with any of this stuff, you're quite happy to throw a comment either our way. And as I said, we're developing ourselves at the same time, but attracting these great people like Chris. Okay, I've got a lovely lady by the name of Ira. I met her. I did a talk with her. You can see it on my YouTube, Journey of a Whitefeather. She's a spiritual coach too, and some of the stuff that she's been talking about and how she became, how she moved into spirituality from having been diagnosed with a mental illness. She moved it and used it towards her spiritual growth, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I saw some of her stuff on Instagram. It's gorgeous. So yeah, definitely go and check her out.
So you got Chris from the UK. I'll give you another shout out, mate, because you deserve it, because some of the stuff. So you meet so many great people that you can be yourself, and I think what it does, it inspires you to say, hang on, I'm not as weird as what I think I am. I'm not doing what I'm doing. I'm not, and I don't feel comfortable in this world, basically this physical world. Everything, your true self, if you let it come out, it will come out. But you got to have a safety net too, because we do live in this world as well. Okay, so you've got to sort of have that, live your truth, but live in this world and balance it all out.
It's about making life work for you based on, your understanding or your expanded awareness of how the world really works. And it's quite the balance, but very possible. And you get better and better and better at understanding. And then you don't want to stop. You become addicted to, growing your mind and your consciousness. And it is such a really powerful tool.
Cut that quote. You get addicted to you.
What I said
cut the quote. That's a great quote. You get addicted to yourself, and you get addicted to these things, and you sort of change your focus because you know that's where you're aligned. People have asked me about two things, okay, since I've been out. Number one, alone time, okay? Number one's alone time and being focused on a goal, right? So I'll quickly go in there with regards to sport, okay? Number one, I'll give you two examples, okay? Dennis Rodman. People might not like him. I love him because he's himself. All right, you might not agree with some of his stuff, but you can't not if you read his story, you can't not love where he's been, and he's actually living his true life. Okay, whatever that
I
may
don't know
be.
the
But
story.
we'll go into the story later. But basically, he nearly deleted, and then he became the number one rebounder in the NBA for 5 years running. He's only 6'10", but his work ethic, he did things by himself. He focused on himself. People don't really realize that you give yourself away with all this. And it's not. I'm not telling you not to go and buy your toys or boo if you want to do, read books or whatever you want to do, socialize that. But think about how you invest in yourself. Think about how you're investing in yourself. Now, I myself, when something comes that I really, really want and I've got this opportunity, you recognize and move with it. And the alone time is basically stepping back away from society and being a bit of a recluse and staying away from people because you're really channeling yourself. You're not being rude or anything. You're focusing in on what you need to do because you're the one that's going to drive the vehicle to where you're going to go next, especially when you're at a point of crossroads. Like, I'm not at a crossroad, but I know I'm moving into this new cycle and I can feel it because it's, planetarial, if you want to put it that way. Pluto retrograde, all this stuff and all that. So it's the only thing that can be taken. Investment in yourself is the only thing that can't be. Yeah, exactly, Chris. You can't take away investment in yourself because you have the choice. There you go. So we're going, as I said, we're flipping from where it is, but that's how it is with regards to moving into that mindset where you're alone, you're focused. Now the second one was Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul. Used to go in and he'd be in the gym in the playing basketball for hours, just shooting baskets. Repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Because he had a goal in mind. People that goal setting.
Something I heard that's interesting, kind of like what you're saying right now. If you do something every day for 18 minutes every single day, you will be better than 95% of the world at whatever that is.
Where'd you get that from? That's a good quote.
I was some I wish, I'm horrible with names. It was some professor talking at a thing, some great guy that I can't give credit to, but it really made me think that, repetitive continuation of things will really, it's the consistency. It's not about duration. It's about consistency. And I'm always saying it, 15 minutes a day, meditation, like whatever it is. I mean, if you better yourself for 15 minutes every day, every single day for the rest of your life, you will have the life you want. You will build the life that you want. And I wish I had the guy's name that said that.
Let's look at it this way, right, as well. Let's look at it this way. So we jump around on this podcast because that's how we go. That's how we roll. So, for example, this weekend, discussion. This is a total discussion. So, say, for example, the feeling of the football grand final, our Australian rules grand final this year, that happened on Saturday for us. Okay, you had the band Kiss on there. All right, one of my favorite bands. You look at the feeling of how they made you feel at the grand final. Now I know all my mates were texting me going, "Oh my God, the energy in the building is like you got two teams battling against each other for the Premiership Cup, came together. It brought them together in the School of Rock and Roll and just blew the house up. It was unbelievable. There was stuff going off, fireworks, but the thing was everyone was solidified in what they did. And they said it was probably that and Robbie Williams were two of the best things. Now, my point is, everyone looks at it and go, I wish I could be there. Why can't you be? Mm-hmm. I say that myself. I'm not just saying it because other people do it. I say it because of myself. Now, they did a lot of work. Now, this is the thing. People see the outcome of your work, but they don't see the hard work that got you there. Have you noticed that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I know, and sometimes people will be like, "Oh, well, you make it look so easy," and it's like, "Are you joking? Do you see you don't see the hours of unedited, crappy stuff that I don't put out there? You know what I mean? Especially at first, I used to be really self-conscious. So coming out publicly on camera 2 years ago was a lot different than me throwing my hair up in 5 minutes and jumping on with you now. I used to care so much, but as I developed my conscious sense of self-awareness, what left me was the weight of other people's opinions. And I just started to live my best life without any regrets. And it was the best decision I ever made. And I don't carry that stuff with me anymore.
You always look great on camera. What are you talking about?
Well, but I never, everybody has a thing, right? It's a self-conscious, oh, my face is this, I have this crooked smile. You know, I could tell 1,000 things. I used to sit there thinking about it all the time, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it more. And then it came this horrible negative self-talk. And all of a sudden I'm this ugly person that I can't stand to look at. And I'm like, that's not who I used to be. That is learned behavior by other people's opinions and other people's insecurities. I took that on as if it was mine, and I almost destroyed myself because of it. When I finally figured it out, I don't give a shit what people say. You don't like this zit over here or this scar? I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way it should be. Look, there's a difference between vanity and actually holding yourself back and hiding. So you know, that's what you got to understand.
Well, I don't want people. I don't want to wear a face full of makeup, and people, when they see me in real life, they'll be like, "Oh, you're fake." Like, no, I want to walk out the door with no makeup and feel the exact same as if I was going on the red carpet. And it's a mindset thing.
There you go. The Logan's red carpet.
It was all in my head. I had to deal with all that stuff. Nobody else was really even, like, maybe they judged me, but I don't know them. What does it matter? Like,
it's very hard.
Done me.
It's very hard with that. When you come to when you're in a conclusion of when you're younger, you're being judged, and especially now, if you look down the shadow work that we do, you look deep into it. Why are you reacting like that? And that's a trauma response, 100%. You go, okay. Always. It's always a trauma response.
So many times of being embarrassed, and you know, I was really clumsy as a kid too, and I would fall or have like the worst embarrassing things happen to me. That I was just having people's attention on me was very nerve-wracking, and it was all from my childhood. Little pieces stuck.
And usually when you get your successes, like, or something comes towards you, makeup originally designed for plump lips up, and yeah, they said Chris was saying that it's originally with makeup is to make yourself, you know, for attraction purpose only. I think it said. Sorry, it just went upstairs. So yes, and no longer the case these days. Yes, exactly. But if you get your true self, so for example, when you, as I said to you, going back to looking at why you respond to certain things, whether it's a personality trait, you can do all these things. Like, you can look at astrology, you can look at this, look at that. But at the end of the day, your mind is the way it is, and you're brought in this world pretty much perfect. Let's be honest, all right? And then you might be bringing stuff in. That's fine. We can go the deep spiritual side of things. But at the end of the day, you're also being developed in a way because you're influenced by people within your circle, and then you look at
society how you around you, neighborhoods.
How you respond is just, exactly. And how you respond is a different way as well. So, you know, and then you have to look at why you respond that way. And you don't have that. We never get that at a young age. You just think, oh, yeah, you're insecure, you're this, you're that, you're this. But it's no real help in regards to becoming a better person, being aware of it.
Most of us didn't have parents that had any awareness of their emotions. So there's no way they were teaching us awareness of our emotions. And
absolutely
it
not.
Was a cycle. Like, luckily for us and for my kids, you know, we can talk about it. It's not.
We're here to break it.
I don't notice my kids holding on to the same things that happened to me at that age. They have a bunch of new stuff, and I'm learning to adapt to their things. But at least there's this open, safe space. You can't say that in my house anyway. So you don't talk about that stuff.
It's a lonely place in some ways. It's a very lonely place in a lot of ways. That when you become yourself, you sort of cut off from a lot of the world, you know. And it is especially when you're a socialite, and then you have to look at why you were social too. I mean, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but once you get into your shadow work and you look at some trauma responses, are you acting a certain way because of the trauma response? Okay, so, and there's a lot of other things, and as I said, having a safe space of someone who's actually been there. I always say the best drug counselors are the ones who've been there, because they feel that they've been there, they've experienced it, where the professionals, yes, they understand the psychology and the medical side of things, which is great, and that's a side you can come in. But can they have the deep-seated love and affection and what you need and safe space? They can contribute to it, absolutely. But then there's someone who you trust, and you go, okay, here I am. I want to be healed.
I want someone who's had the feeling.
The feeling, exactly. And then you've got to feel it with them as well. So you've got to feel connected in that way, where you can actually let yourself go and go, okay, yep, all right, this is the way it is. And you wonder one thing. As I said, there's a few things, and you go down and write down your daily thoughts about what you do. So I journal again, but I journal. So when I say I always journal, right? But you journal in a different mindset. So now I've started flat out from probably mid-September, I think it was. I thought, right, we'll start writing again, but I'm in a different mindset when it all happens. So this is the work of the shadow as well. When you work with the shadow work, I put it, and even me coming on here and even doing videos and putting my face to these videos is a massive thing. Jack said the same thing. She's doing the same thing. For us to come and do what we're doing, it's huge.
Talking is therapeutic. You go to therapy, you talk. It's always, that's how you get to these things. That's where the new awareness comes in, the new perspective. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, make it work for your situation, understand your behavior patterns so that you can put these actions into real help in your life. However it works for you. You have to kind of play a little bit of matchmaker, because truthfully, you are the only person who knows yourself. And we can all guide you, we can continue to work with you, and there's amazing people and amazing support, but you got to be the one to walk through the door, and you got to be the one to actually put the effort in.
Yeah, look, it's and then the other thing is, I think the other thing we get, which is hilarious, all right, this is absolutely hilarious. You get, and you question yourself too. Have a think about this, ladies and gentlemen. What gives you the right to talk about, to help people, right? To tell people to do what they need to do to get out of their shadow or whatever, when you've done so many things in the past, right? What gives you the right? And you hear all these spiritual counselors say, Victor Otto, you know, you'll hear Aaron Doherty say it. You'll hear a lot of people in the community say they've always been questioned about, you know, from people about why they're coming out and being the freedom fighter or whatever you want to call it, and telling me be a better person when we've done things in our that haven't been, you know, right, or however you want to put it, or hurt people or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, have a think about logically when you go to a professional and you do that, you know, what gives them the right to go and get a degree and do that too. So everybody has the chance to become a better person.
People actually say that? I would say,
yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Goes, oh, you've done it. You've done it. I've heard it. Oh my.
No, well, what gives me the right is the fact that I cannot just sit by and watch people self-destruct over and over again in a system that's designed to destroy us, and we continue to keep our heads down, and we continue to just go through the motions and not act on our own inner healing. And we can fix ourselves and we can heal ourselves, and it's up to you to make that choice. And that's what gives me the right. I can't just do nothing, or I'll be a drug addict again.
That's it.
Because
there you go.
I have to do something.
Yeah, exactly. Or you go to a point where
passion. I can't watch my family suffer. I can't watch my friends suffer and continue to die and do nothing. So if all I can do is talk and hopefully open up people's mind to the opportunity that there can be more, then I'm going to do that. And I don't give a shit what the haters say. That's the thing. If you are strong enough, you don't give a shit what the other people say. Those aren't the people that you're talking to then.
Yep, Chris, that's exactly right. See, the school of life, you don't need a degree. What you need to do is basically give you your experiences. I mean, I've heard it. And you hear anyone, as I said to you, throwing Victor Otto's name in there. I mean,
nobody's ever said that to me, but we have, I mean, there's, you know, when you're with certain people, there's certain things you say, and then that, you know, you read the room. You don't go talking about aliens in a room of people who don't believe in it, like aliens. So there's different tactics I use to open up people's mind depending on the level of conscious awareness that they have. And I can pick that up pretty easily by having a conversation with someone. So that's who I am. That's what I need to do. I don't know why. I just know that.
Look at it this way.
Nobody will ever tell me that. I'd love the conversation if they ever did.
Look at it logically. People come and say these
Now
things
you got me
to
all
say
pumped up with that.
Say you and me, so we do these stuff, right? So you go and do a thing. G'day, Paulie, how are you, mate? You have who are all these people who are coming saying these things. Have a look at what they're saying to themselves. That's right. You have to say that to yourself. You go, what right do they? Not even what right. Have a look at. They have to. It's a direct reflection on themselves. So they.
So it's not worth your time. Don't allow people to fill your bubble with negativity. Block it out. You're in a bubble. That's what that. Imagine it bouncing off you. Don't even let it sink in. It's not hard benefiting your path.
And it's hard to stay social in this world. Fine, no problem. Okay, it's hard to stay in this. It's hard because it's socially we're supposed to do this, this, and this, and this. Once you find that little group, it is a bit of a lonely time. But then, you know, once you come together, you go from there. On that note, Jack, I'm gonna have to do a runner because I've got a few things to do this morning.
I was a little excited for that. I can't believe some people say that. Nobody gives me any hate.
It's believe me, you'll hear it in the community. You'll hear it that people have said when they first start, what gives you the right because you did this. I go, well, there you focusing on something. Let's have a look at my best one is give me some about you so I can have a crack at you about it if you really want to go down that path. So you're a saint or you're a saint, are you? Good luck to you. No problem. Yeah, great.
Blocked.
No worries.
Blocked.
Yeah, go. Yeah, you're great. No worries.
Amazing day, and hopefully we will. I don't know. We'll do this again next week. It was a good talk today, I think.
Absolutely. So
thank you, Chris, and thank you for everyone who participated.
We'll catch it.
We'll catch out. Don't you have a nice?
I always close it out with our hero. Hang on. There we go. That's better. Our hero, Brett the Hitman Hart, of course. That comes from Calgary. He's a WWF champion. We connect on that level as well. But he had a quote every time he goes out to the ring. He says, "Get up in the morning and be the best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be." Paulie, we'll have this up on TikTok very, very soon. The shorts will be up and the full version will be up on our YouTube channels. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. This was me and the 1111 Spiritual Transit Podcast with the Maple Leaf Beauty over here and the Down Under person with all the kangaroos and koalas that are in my background.
Bye!
Take care. See you soon.
Guys. Next
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.